Hey guys, it's Lord of the Pogs. I haven't seen you in a while. It's really good to be back. I've been busy, and as you can see, I've been up to some pretty cool stuff. I'm here to tell you that skydiving is a really intimate confrontation with fear. I first floated the idea of skydiving when I was about 32. Turning 30 is a big change, and I knew that turning 40 was going to be an even bigger change, so I started telling people, when I turn 40, I'm going to go skydiving. When I was about 38, I realized that I was going to have to start cashing all these checks that I'd been writing. So I found a company called Go Jump America. Go Jump America has drop zones in Los Angeles, Las Vegas, Hawaii, and New York. For my first time skydiving, what better place to go than the North Shore of Oahu? The whole time I'd been saying this, when I turn 40, I'm going to go skydiving. I'm going to go skydiving. When I turned 40, very few people believed me. When I booked my reservation, I've included the link down below, still very few people believed me. When we got to Hawaii, very few people believed that I was actually going to go through with it, and I wasn't entirely convinced myself, if I'm being perfectly honest. When the day came, my birthday is April 4th, and I wanted to go on my birthday. It rained hard, so they canceled the day. I got rebooked for the following day, April 5th, and it was beautiful. And it was just the perfect day. When we got to the drop zone, there was a buzz. There was just energy. And that's when it started to feel real. This isn't my instructor. It's one of the instructors, but it's not the guy who jumped with me. When they fit you with the harness, they give you a safety briefing. Yes, the harness feels loose. That's normal. When you get on the plane, you sit in front of your instructor. And on the way up, your instructor straps your harness to his harness, and that's when he starts to tighten it. There's a few other people around getting strapped into harnesses, and they were on the plane with me. A standard jump is from 14,000 feet, but I wanted to go bigger, so I booked at 18,000 feet. Everybody else on my plane was jumping from 14,000, so I got on the plane first so I could jump last. This is the tiniest plane you've ever been on in your entire life. I'd been on private planes before. They're huge. This plane was the size of a stick of gum. It was about 4 feet off the ground, and I had about 6 or 8 other people on the plane jumping with me, with their instructors. So with 14 people on the plane, it was packed. Inside, there's 2 benches that run the length of the plane. You're sitting on these benches with your legs on either side and your instructors behind you. Since I got on first, I was on the far bench all the way at the front of the plane. My instructor was sitting behind me, right next to the pilot. I could look to my right and literally see him flying the plane. I remember looking out the window and thinking, wow, we're getting pretty high, we must be getting close. I didn't say that, but my instructor said, we're going up to 14,000 feet, and everybody else is going to jump. Then you and I are going to go up to 18,000 feet. Right now we're at about 5,000 feet, so we've still got a ways to go. Now, I'm not making this number up. I probably watched 200 YouTube videos about skydiving. I wanted to know exactly what I was getting myself into, what to expect, and what it was going to be like. And I'm going to tell you right now that whatever you think it's going to be like, whatever you're expecting, it's different. There is nothing that can prepare you for the experience. When you get to 14,000 feet, the plane starts to cruise, and then the door opens. The only part of skydiving that is the way that you think it would be is being on a plane with the door open sounds like you would expect it to. It's loud. The door rolls up like a garage door, like one of those storage unit doors. And then people start going out of the plane. Not jumping like jumping down the last 2 steps on a flight of stairs. They stand on the edge and they kind of fall forward in this somersault motion. And it makes a sound like whoosh, and they're gone. Whoosh, and they're gone. Pretty soon, this plane that had about 15 people on it is completely empty, and it's just the pilot, myself, and my instructor. The door closes, and then we start to ascend again. My instructor put me on oxygen. You can see how terrified I look in this shot. And rightfully so, I just watched people jump off an airplane. But my instructor put me on oxygen so I wouldn't pass out at 18,000 feet. He had a pressurized helmet, but I didn't. When we got to 18,000 feet, we started to cruise again. The door opened, and my instructor said, "Let's go." They stand you up and they scoot you right up to the edge of the thing, right up to the edge. And you're staring down 18,000 feet, 3.5 miles, staring down to death. I felt like we were standing there for about 5 minutes. It was probably more like 10 seconds. But there was no countdown. There was no, "We're going to jump on 3." There was no, "Here we go." I was staring down, and the next thing I knew, we were out of the plane. You do like this somersault motion, so as soon as we were out of the plane, all I could see was blue. And then I could see the plane as we flipped around. After I caught a glimpse of the plane and we kept spinning, now during the safety briefing, one of the things they instruct you to do is hold your harness like this. Hold your harness like a backpack all the way out of the plane. Your instructor will tap you on your shoulder when it's safe to put your arms out. When my instructor tapped my shoulder, I knew what that meant, but I was still riding this adrenaline rush. I just jumped out of a freaking airplane, give me a break. I was still riding this adrenaline rush. At that exact moment, all my fear completely evaporated, and it was replaced with total bliss. For 90 seconds of freefall, I was more at peace than I'd ever been before in my entire life. And what's interesting is it didn't even feel like falling. I was prepared for a stomach drop, like when you jump off a diving board. And when your brain thinks you're going to hit the water but you don't, your stomach rises up to your chest. That's what I was expecting jumping out of the airplane, but there was none of that. It didn't feel like falling. Some people have described skydiving as flying. I didn't really get the flying sensation, but it felt like laying on a mattress of air. There's nothing that can prepare you for skydiving. The sensation can't be explained. It's something you have to experience to know. It's something you have to experience to really know. There's simply nothing like being in total freefall 3 miles high, taking in the view of a tropical coastline. Then the parachute comes out. The parachute comes out hard. Now, I've been in a moving vehicle where I slammed on the brakes so hard I thought the airbag was going to come out. When the parachute came out, it was harder than that. It didn't hurt, it wasn't painful, but you slow down so fast that my initial reaction was, did I just break a bone? Which I didn't, obviously. After being in freefall for about 90 seconds, it was about 5 minutes of gliding down on a controlled parachute. When we got to the ground, it was a soft landing, and I was laughing. My instructor asked me, "Would you go again?" And I said, "I'll do it again right now." Skydiving was one of the greatest experiences of my entire life. I'm so glad I did it. And one of the things it taught me was that the greatest things in life are on the other side of fear. I've heard that a lot, that's been said a lot, but hearing it and really knowing it, really experiencing it, and feeling it for yourself are two completely different things. If you have the opportunity to go, I highly recommend it. And I've linked Go Jump America down below. Thanks for watching. If you've been skydiving, I want to hear about your experience. Please let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, which I sure hope you did, please like, share, and subscribe. And hit that bell in the corner to get notifications on more videos like this one.